So I often get asked about why I create my Maven projects by manually creating the directory structure and by creating the XML file for the project object model manually. So I'm going to give you a quick demonstration about how I have been doing this in the past, and I'm going to show you the alternative, creating the project by using the Maven archetype generate. So I'm going to start off by showing you how I've been doing this in the past. And the first thing I do is I created a directory structure, and I'm just going to call this project try me one, and within that I'm going to create the directory structure that Maven usually looks for. So we have the subdirectories src main java, and the -p over here as an option to mkdir tells it to create all of the subdirectories on the path. So it's going to create the try me one, the src main, and java. The next thing I would do is I would create the pom.xml file, so I have the directory structure, and I can now use vi and go into this directory and say I want to change the pom.xml, and this is the project object model. So we start off with the project tags, and we then have the model version, and we then specify the group ID, the artifact ID, and the version for the project. So let's start with the group ID, the artifact ID, and the version for the project. And I also want to specify the compiler and the source code version. So I do this with the properties tag. And all that's left to do is to go in here and use Maven compile to see if it's all put together correctly. So this is how I've been doing it in the past, and I find this very simple to do. The alternative is to use the Maven archetype generate. So if I just put down the command here, I can see that I get the Z shell autocomplete. So I'm going to go through the individual options that we specify one at a time. So the first thing I do is I use the -b for batch mode to make this non-interactive. So it's not going to prompt us to confirm that we're going to create a project with this archetype, the package, the group, and the version. So it's going to just take everything that we specify on the command line, and it's going to go ahead and build the project with that. So the first thing we do is we specify the group ID just like we did in the previous approach. We then have the artifact ID, and then we have the version and the package. Then we specify the archetype artifact ID, which is Maven archetype quick start. You have to make sure that you don't have a typo anywhere in here, and it's easy to do that if you're using the Z shell history, because you could then just move to wherever you want to change something. So you could do an alt and click to go there using the Z shell. I think I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, this is going to take a bit of time. So after it finishes generating the directory structure and the pom.xml, you can then go into the pom.xml file and add the properties like we did earlier. So you still need to go in with vi into pom.xml, add the properties for the Maven compiler source and the target, and we're going to do that right now. So this is the project object model XML file that was generated by MBN Archetype, and in here I'll add the properties. That's for the source. We're now going to do that for the target. And when I hit compile, we get the exact same result as we did earlier. So these are the two different ways of doing it. And I just prefer to do it manually by creating the directory structure and the project object model.xml. And this could probably even be simpler by keeping a copy of the Maven pom.xml file somewhere and just making a copy of it whenever I need to create a new project. But yeah, that's just my preference. I prefer to do it manually. If you prefer to do it with the archetype generate, that's good as well. You could just write a command to insert the Maven compiler source and the target so that you don't have to do it manually through VI.